And hello everybody, welcome back to LFC News. Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, probably in the top three, both of them in the top three when it comes to sort of inside information with regard to Liverpool Football Club. And both of them have sort of shed light on some sort of big stories and provided some big news, of which we're going to be discussing in today's video, from Arne Slot's future to players that are currently having their contracts expired, and then to the summer transfer window as well. So quite a lot to discuss in today's video, ladies and gentlemen. But first, please do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for more. Now, let's start with Konate. Now, Konate we've been getting some different bits of news really with regard to Konate. We know that his contract expires at the end of the season, and it's clear that the club do want him to sign terms. But it does feel as though Konate has been a little bit reluctant in kind of assessing his options, whether that's a move to PSG or Real Madrid. However, David Ornstein has contradicted that a little bit now with this update with regard to him, and said, I think there's constructive conversation around that one. I do think there's a will on both sides, player and club, to try and find an agreement. It's not there yet, but the conversation from what we hear are continuing and are pretty cordial. So David Ornstein is stating that Konate is cooperative and is keen to sign a deal. So it's not necessarily in stone that he's going to be leaving the football club. So a bit of a big update there with regard to Konate. He also provided an update on the summer transfer window, expecting wide attacker to be signed like a winger. So take of that what you will. We're still a little while out from the summer transfer window, but that soon comes around very, very quickly. Then we've also got Fabrizio Romano providing an update with regard to Alisson. And he said the message from Alisson's camp is that he really wants to continue at Liverpool, despite the link to Italian clubs in recent days. He wants to fulfill his contract for one more season until 2027. So again, I don't know if he's going to be staying at the club in the future after 2027, but certainly won't be leaving this summer if Alisson has his way. Obviously, Marbanashvili was signed. We've got him. That's probably seen as the sort of long-term replacement of Alisson. But it does seem as though, despite the clubs, Italian clubs being linked to him, he does want to stay beyond into next season, which is absolutely crucial. Then the big one, we've got an update here from David Ornstein on Arne Slot. And he said Liverpool, from what we hear, are steadfastly behind Arne Slot, and he's under contract until 2027. They want him to be their coach. The hierarchy are determined that he is the man to get things right. If they were looking at a recruitment process for coaches, he said to be the exact profile that they would be looking at, and that there's not many people on the market that they would better suit what they're looking for. They are happy with him. I'm expecting this to go on and that the club get the summer and whatever shape. I don't think taking out the head coach on Liverpool's agenda at all. So despite reports saying about Xabi Alonso, it does seem as though Liverpool are, staying and sticking with Arne Slot, and especially going into next season. I mean, again, I don't think at Liverpool Football Club that can be a guarantee. However, that's what it looks like is the sort of case coming for the Liverpool hierarchy. So do let me know your thoughts on that update down there in the comments.
In this section of this video, we will go over our 5 biggest takeaways from our 1-0 loss against Galatasaray. Liverpool returned to Anfield with a 1-0 deficit to overcome after another performance to forget for Arne Slot's side in a basketball affair against Galatasaray. Number 1. Liverpool can still turn Galatasaray tie around at Anfield. So let's start with something positive. Liverpool can still easily turn this tie around at Anfield. The fact is, Galatasaray do not travel well, as they proved in so nearly throwing away a huge lead in the playoff tie against Juventus that brought them to this stage. And they will hardly be helped by arriving on Merseyside next week without their incredible supporters, who have been banned from travelling. Still, the flip side of this point is that, should the Reds come through comfortably, it will only emphasise just how bad they were in losing here. Number 2. Arne Slot can't afford these games. And yes, this was a catastrophically bad performance from Liverpool, whose head coach Arne Slot simply cannot afford for this to keep happening. The idea in a transition season is that you start performing better towards the end, but there aren't enough consistent signs of that happening. What's more, for all that the Premier League's physicality and set-piece focus has provided mitigation for poor performances in that competition. The Reds simply have no excuses for playing this badly against Turkish opposition in Europe. Slot's contract situation guarantees that sporting director Richard Hughes has a big call to make at the end of this season, and you suspect this game will feature prominently in his thinking when he does. Number 3. Florian Wirtz's inclusion in Liverpool 11 a mistake. There was excitement among supporters to see Florian Wirtz returning to the starting 11 for the first time since his recent injury. Unfortunately, it quickly became apparent that Slot had made a mistake in including the German, who looked miles off the pace in a game where sharpness was a must. In his 73 minutes on the pitch, Wirtz missed 2 huge opportunities, created 0 chances, and completed just 71% of his passes. Clearly, he should have been eased in with a substitute's appearance rather than leaving Liverpool carrying a man who was contributing little. Number 4. What do Jeremy Frimpong and Curtis Jones have to do for minutes? Of course, there is a school of thought that Slot's hands are tied by the squad at his disposal, with certain players making his team so easy to play against. But that argument does not stand up to scrutiny, given that the Dutchman is continually making inexplicable selection decisions around them. For example, he did the hard work in initially dropping Mohamed Salah, but now seems wedded to the Egyptian, despite Jeremy Frimpong being a better option. And there is no chance that Alexis McAllister's performances this term have justified him staying in the starting 11 ahead of Curtis Jones. Yes, this squad has weaknesses, but Slot is emphasizing them. Number 5. Georgi Mamardashvili, a rare plus point for Liverpool. He may not have kept a clean sheet, but Georgi Mamardashvili was one of the few Liverpool players who could leave the field with his head held high. Standing in for Alisson, the Georgian made 3 saves, with one sprawling stop in particular catching the eye. He also looked comfortable in terms of distribution, releasing Mohamed Salah in Alisson style for a counter-attack that was one of the visitors' most promising of the first half. If the Reds' number 1 is going to face any longer on the sidelines, then supporters can at least have faith in the man who will cover for him. Ultimately, Liverpool still have everything to play for when the tie returns to Anfield, but this defeat served as a stark warning. Arne Slot's side were well below the standards expected of them in Europe, with questionable selection decisions and a lack of sharpness proving costly on the night. The good news is that the deficit is only 1 goal, and with Anfield behind them, Liverpool remain more than capable of turning the tie around. However, a dramatic improvement will be required if they are to avoid another frustrating night and keep their European ambitions alive. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. We post all the latest Liverpool news every day, so join our fast growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.